Hi, everyone. Second to the last panel of the day. We're going to breeze through this. I hope that you have been inspired as much as I have with the speakers that we've started listening to this morning. And I'm so pleased and so thrilled to be speaking with two lovely ladies today. They are talented, they are engaging, and most importantly, they're influential because we're talking about the age of influencing. On the far right, I have Ayla Sham. Ayla is a social media sensation, model, and cover star. We first worked with her when we worked on the cover of Vogue Hong Kong together with Will Smith and Jude Law's daughter for our Youthquake feature. And she's since graced the cover of other esteemed publications such as Harper's, Hong Kong, Cosmopolitan, Marie Claire, Madame Figaro, Hashtag, and Prestige Hong Kong and Taiwan. The list goes on and on. Ayla has starred in numerous brand campaigns and collaborating with renowned brands like Vuitton, Dior, Miu Miu, to name just a few. And she also recently made her runway debut at London Fashion Week, working for the brand Izu. She has been nominated for Tatler's Most Stylish Award 2022 and Prestige 40 Under 40. Besides being an influencer, she's recently started writing, and she has written her first book, The Head to Toe Guide to Being Happy. In the middle is someone who is extraordinary in her very own way. I've actually heard her sing. She's actually a jazz singer. So Ashley is a rising actress and a songwriter based in Hong Kong, and she's at 23 years old, decided to pursue a full-time career in performing arts after completing her undergraduate degree in architecture from the University of Hong Kong. So young as she may be, she's definitely not a stranger in front of the camera. So she starred in movies and TV series since she was 16. Including Septet, produced by Johnny To, and Find Your Voice, produced by Andy Lau Lau Dat. Most recently, she was casted as a female lead in two drama series, Rope-a-Dope and Sparks, produced by View TV. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. So we're talking about, the age of influencers, the age of Instagram. So it's been around for probably like 10 plus years. So none of you actually kind of decided that you want to become an influencer from the get-go. So Ayla, I'm going to start with you. How did this come about, and how did you start engaging yourself on IG and engaging in audience interaction? And then when did you realize that, okay, I might have become an influencer? How was that journey?
So since a young age, I've been getting a lot of attention because of my parents. And because of that, I wanted to do something good for this world. So my first ever ad or campaign, I guess, was for UNICEF. And so I created an Instagram account, and I was just posting kind of just regular things as well as like what I believe in, because I believe that, so when I was younger, I actually didn't like the attention at all. But then I realized, because, I have this platform, I have this following, I should do something good for this world and I should make a difference. So that's how I started. And then many of these fashion brands, as I love fashion as well, started kind of approaching me, and I was like, oh, sure, yeah, I would love to. And then somehow it got to today, and I'm really happy and really grateful for everyone who's given me like such good opportunities.
Just to give a little context, I didn't try to mention this earlier as I didn't think it was fair for them, because they are also children of very famous actresses. So I think they grew up in the trade. So moving on to Ashley. So Ashley pursued a career in architect. And I remember when I first met you, you were just about to finish your degree. And I was so sure you were going to go straight into being an architect. So what caused the diversion in the path? I've heard her saying she's wonderful. So, good choice, first of all.
Thank you. For me, I think architecture and fashion and acting and singing, they are similar in nature. I've actually heard one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Johnny Mitchell, say, we all have, so artistic pursuits for me is like, it's like crop rotation. So you have a piece of land, and for some time, I want to do acting and singing. And maybe some other time, maybe in another 10 years, I would want to do architecture or design, or maybe I will get into fashion design, who knows, But I think for me, it's the keeping my brain moving and keeping myself engaged in different things would keep my nourishing ground as a designer or as an actress. well-fed and well-nourished. Yeah.
Great. Now, from knowing these two amazing women, I know that they're extremely grounded and they're extremely clear on what they want to do. A lot of times on Instagram, you're portraying yourself in a certain way. So, Ayla, I want to ask, how do you separate your Instagram personality with your real personality? And then what happens when people are judging you by how you act and how you associate with brands and sort of all the exterior? How do you keep yourself grounded?
Well, I try to be as genuine as I can, and like I mentioned, I try to, tell the world what I believe in, and sometimes it is hard to put yourself out there and, show the whole world who you are, but I still try my best to, show who I am and tell people what I believe in, and also at the same time, do things that I like, for example, writing a book or participating in fashion events, and just knowing how the whole thing works is very interesting for me as well.
Now, as an influencer, I'm going to continue with Ayla with one more question. The idea of actually curating the image, curating the brand messages, curating everything. Everything seems to be planned and organized. How does that feel for you as a woman growing up and just kind of finding yourself and finding your way into the world, that everything is already in such a curated state? How is that for you personally?
I try to add my personal touch to my posts, and I try to, be myself a lot of these times. And also, I think instead of, being kind of hidden, I believe that these are all opportunities to learn from all the different brands, all the media that I've worked with. And every single time, I put myself out there, it's a learning experience. So, like today as well. So I'm very grateful for all these opportunities.
So just to offshoot here, these two ladies had the audacity to really wanted to rehearse. They wanted to look at the questions. So they're really, really taking this very seriously. The next question I want to ask Ashley, because I've actually heard her saying, as a singer, you're really putting yourself out there in the audience on a live level. Ashley does a lot of live music. So this is not like she has a YouTube channel. She sings on her own to audience on YouTube. What is it like for you to actually be an influencer and then jumping out and then being in the world and actually interacting with your audience as an artist?
For me, I think it's very, very different because actually, I think what gives me most joy is finding that genuine connection with people that I've met on influencer platforms. So I find a lot of joy in people. I have followers that like to write me letters on Instagram. So they write me really, really non-social media language letters. And they tell me if I'm doing good or bad, or if they like my performance, or if they think there's something that I can improve. I think these are the connections that I value the most, whether on social media or in real life. Personally, I would say I'm the kind of person that enjoys meeting people face to face and talking to them face to face. So I am really still navigating the whole social media and connecting with my audience in the most authentic way.
Now, both of you came from entertainment families, and I think that you understand the scrutiny that people get put through without social media. So I'm going to start with Ayla. How do you deal with the stress and also sometimes the pressure of how people place people who are in the acting industry, in the entertainment industry? And what have you learned from your mom in terms of dealing with this pressure?
I think since I started at a very young age, I kind of learned to accept the fact that, I'm going to be in the spotlight and people are going to talk no matter what. So I try to make the best out of the situation. When I started, I was really quite insecure, I would admit. And I didn't know what to do at all because, especially while growing up, the older I got, the more attention I received. People would wait outside my school, paparazzi. And so at first that was I was quite scared of all the attention because I'm like, oh no, my life is going to be put out into the whole world and everyone can see who I am. But after that, I kind of asked my mom as well, and she said, well, you can do this. You can, make the world a better place because people are looking at you. And my mom often gives a lot of kind of good advice to me. and she does make me a lot more confident in who I am. So I'm like, I owe her a lot. Yeah.
Now, the influencer age and the Instagram age has caused also a lot of psychological pressure for a lot of young people. So when you are writing your book, tell me a little bit about how you want your book to help other people be happier and more supportive of themselves.
So my book is a children's book called The Head to Toe Guide to Being Happy. And it's basically about all the body parts that you can use to become happy. For example, eyes are for seeing the good in everyone, and hands are for helping others. So through kind of, even with social media, I feel like a lot of these audiences are getting younger and younger, and children are so malleable and fragile. So I always think that, it's good to start with some positive like energy or thoughts and words of kindness for the children. So I hope that through my book, I'm able to inspire kids or even adults to become just, a more happier and positive person.
Right. And for Ashley, I understand that when you started, you went to school in Hong Kong. You studied very academically. You went to very competitive schools. What was it like for you when you decided to take a dip into the world of entertainment, and how much of that pressure has come to you? Do you ever regret that decision, or is there any time in your daily routine that you feel, I really don't want to get out there and put makeup on and have to appear like I'm perfect? I just want to be a teenager. What's it like for you when you have your routine?
Growing up, I was a major introvert. So I was super, super introverted. And the school I went to is really traditional, very academically challenging. Funnily, my peers did not take interest in my life outside of school at all. They just think, oh, you're putting on a costume, you're Hannah Montana, you're someone else now. This is really funny. They were really supportive. They were kids, so they did make fun of me, but not in a harmful way. So I think that I took it very well. It started to become a little more complicated when I got into uni. I had also a very time-consuming degree. During that time, I did have certain regrets when I have a final presentation, or I have my capstone project coming up. I do wish that I have spent more time on it, because the two, I was being a bit torn between the two paths, but eventually I did see that I wanted to pursue a career in performing arts in this time of my life. So yeah.
And has your mom given you any good advice as an actress herself?
I think one really positive influence my mother has on me is that she treats entertainment or being an influencer very professionally. So when she goes out into the world, she wears her makeup, she wears her costume, she's an actress, she's an influencer, she's somebody who people recognizes, but at home, she's just mom. So for me, I think a way for me to navigate between the two personalities is keeping this line of divide between the two personalities. People say, oh, you should be authentic. Yes, I agree. But at the same time, I do agree that there is a certain distance that should be kept between the two personalities, at least for myself, for my mental health. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of that, do you think that one day, for either of you, and this, I'm going to start with this with Ayla, that you will maybe stop being influencer? When do you think that you will move into your next phase? Or do you feel that something like social media is a part of your life because you are growing up in this generation and you're very native to social media?
I feel like social media has already become such a big part of me that I don't know when. I don't have a specific timeline for myself to, stop social media. But I do try like day to day to have times where I'm active and times where I, log out and spend more time with my family, my dogs. So I actually have 2 younger sisters, and I'm trying to set a good example for them. And sometimes there's some messages on social media that can be so harmful, especially to young girls, 2 younger sisters. So I try to protect them from it. And sometimes that does make me kind of go less on social media, and I try to be more active in real life and with my parents as well. And so I try to keep a distance, like Ashley says, but it's become such a big part of me that it's quite difficult.
And how do you deal with any type of trolling or bullying? I mean, when you see things happen like that, how do you take everything in stride?
So to be very honest, when I was a lot younger, it did affect me. Like I would be upset when I saw, comments that are, talking about me or my family, especially my family. Then I would get quite defensive. And now I just realize, everyone has something to say. Like there's no way, everyone's going to make all these positive comments. And I just have to accept the fact that, there's good and bad in this world. And so I just have to look on the good side and try and set a good example for, sister and kids.
Great. And Ashley, how about you? How do you feel about, being an influential sensation? When do you think this path will diverge, or when do you think that you want to pursue maybe the performing arts, in a full-time capacity, which you are already?
I think for me, social media, my role or my relationship with social media started off quite innocently. So I was just posting some of the pictures I took for architecture school and some of the models I made. And eventually some fashion brands started approaching me and dressing me. And that also built up my followers because people were interested in what I was wearing, what I was doing. For me, I do see myself being in a position one day that I would stop using social media. Because for me, it's just simply not my most natural way of communication. I think it varies from person to person. And I think most people younger than my age, because I'm 23 right now, would be totally fluent in the language of social media. Personally, I am not. But I don't think that means I will stop becoming an influencer. I don't think influencing should be kept within the bounds of social media. Influencing, I think, started way before social media existed. So I do hope that I could keep using my influence for good in promoting my art, and promoting, the human condition. Yeah.
Great. We have a couple of questions from the audience, and I'm going to ask one each. Okay. So for Ayla, one question is: can you share any advice for aspiring fashion influencers who are looking to establish their own presence in the industry?
I think it's really important to be yourself. And of course, there's going to be trends that come and go. But I believe a lot of people can set their own trends. And when you be yourself and also, follow trends, but also keep your personal touch, I think that's the most special thing that you can do. And also, you can create trends.
And for Ashley, what are your tips for staying connected with your audience?
I think it's striking a balance between what you're representing and what you believe in, and also thinking about what they want to see from you. Because I think it's a very present dilemma for every influencer, fashion influencer, social media influencer, to think between, this is something that I want to do, and this is who I am, this is my identity, and what other people expect from you. I think I've also learned a lot from our last seminar. So there are things that you could separate into, for example, the way you present to other people and other things that you keep more to yourselves, or there could be parts that are more for a high fashion, street style. So it's a mix of both things. So yeah.
I think we'll all agree that for these two lovely ladies, there are so much more that meets the eye. We've got a minute left, and I'm going to do a big dare, okay? I'm going to ask Ashley to do something for me, and it's going to be so impromptu, and she's going to hate me for the rest of her life. I think her singing is so magical, it's so mesmerizing. Ashley, would you do us a favor and just sing one phrase of a favorite song that you feel that you would like to give to the audience of Fashion Asia?
Wow.
And she is, I did not tell her this, so I swear to God. So can we get a round of applause?
Thank you. So this is a line from a jazz standard. It's called "Why Try to Change Me Now?" I'm sentimental, so I walk in the rain. I have some habits even I can't explain. I look to the corner and I end up in Spain. So why try to change me now? Yeah.
And thank you so much. We have 10 seconds left. A big thank you for Ayla and Ashley for being with us today. We have an exciting finale coming up, and I'm going to let Divya tell us. I do this all the time, Divya. You're going to have to just... I keep trying to do her job. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.